it over. Hello, YouTube. Good morning.
Let's give it a moment. He's jamming over here. You see this guy? All right. Hold on just a second. Good morning. Coming to you live from Action Media Group headquarters here in the beautiful Springfield, Missouri. It's the Morning Drive with Matt and Jay, with your hosts, Matt and Jay. Of course, we got a surprise guest in the studio. He's always a surprise guest. He shows up at the last second. Jeremiah Humans is in the studio with us this morning. So, of course, welcome to all those folks listening on YouTube and on axradio.com around the world. It's a beautiful day, so waiting for the hook. We always wait for the hook before we turn down. We can just sit and listen to the whole song. Do you recognize this song, Jay? You guys recognize this?
I recognize this song.
I'm going to let our listeners actually hear the whole song, because a lot of people haven't heard this whole song. Have you heard this whole song? All right. This was written 2012, I think.
Yep.
2012.
Well, I don't know.
I think I wrote it in 2012. Of course, the lead guitarist of this, he's no longer with us, but he wasn't super excited about that lead part right there, that specific part. But the guy donated 3 hours of record time, so we were on a limited time schedule. Did you guys know you'd be listening to music this morning? All right. It's a lot more. It's really fun to play. Of course, the person singing in the background, she is no longer with us in the band. Shereel, we used to call her. Shereel. All right. Jeremiah is looking at the camera there. And believe it or not, Barney is on just a single drum, a single bass drum, but it sounds like he's playing a double.
It's because he's good at what he does.
He is very good at what he does. I think we might be practicing tonight, so. I hope we're not driving everybody nuts by listening to this whole song this morning. You can definitely tell a difference between a professional studio and a home studio, though. There are differences. I don't know what the differences are. Wait for it. It's almost over, I promise, guys. Jason B. Cobb is watching us.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to back it off. So.
Now that's some rock and roll there.
You know, that was so much fun going to the studio that day.
Yeah.
And, you know, if it's God's will, it's God's bill. And God motivated a friend of ours, Buddy Pillmore, to talk to the owner of Studio 2100.
Yeah.
And this guy at Studio 2100 is a Christian and wanted to donate. He donated 3 hours of record time in his studio.
Awesome.
So that was, we spent 3 hours there. Of course, it was more than 3 hours, but it's intimidating when you walk in there. We had I keep calling her Cheryl. She was in the same room as the guy that owned it, the guy mixing everything. Mm-hmm. I was in a little box with a glass door on front and on the side of it, and to the side here was the guy operating the studio, and then I could see Barney here, and then across the drum room was another room with a glass door on it where the lead guitarist was in. And then we had Sammy Nobles, our pastor at that time, and also friend and bass player. He just sat down. He hadn't practiced with us for months.
Yeah.
And he just sat down with us, and he was sitting in the same room with Barney in the drum room.
Yeah.
And
didn't he help write the music?
Yeah, he did. He did. He was there with us as well, and he lent his expertise. I mean, he's a professional musician, so he
gave it up.
Yeah, but I still consider him a professional.
Yeah.
You know, you don't lose the.
He doesn't play professionally anymore.
No, but he is a professional.
I've been seeing him on Facebook more.
Our plant's up again. Look at that.
Yeah.
Revived.
Needed some water.
And there is a flower coming up. See that real tall leaf up at the top?
Yes, yes.
There's a flower coming in right beneath that, and it's on the same stem as that.
So I talk about science a lot on the show, and I saw this post somebody posted, or several people did, and I don't know if they're listeners. I think they might be. About how Jesus is, science says that we need water, air.
Oh, yes, I saw that.
Yeah, and it said there were 4 things, and then it said that Jesus said that I am the way, the truth, and the life. Or no, what was it? I can't remember.
He's the
now.
bread.
Yeah.
He's the living water.
Yeah, the living water. Yeah, so I love that. I think that's pretty great.
Well, he is. He's our sustenance, our spiritual sustenance, and I think that if it was God's will for us to live and not eat, we would survive on Jesus alone.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, look, Jesus went 40 days and 40 nights without food, being tempted by the devil the whole time.
Yep.
So.
Are you kidding? We can't go 24 hours without social media.
Yeah. Well. That's true. I could go 24 hours without social media.
Could you?
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, I know I can.
If it wasn't for what we do here, I probably would never be on Facebook or YouTube or anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
That's just because there's.
Although I would be on YouTube, I find it a good resource. Although it's getting to be not as good a resource.
A little bit progressive-y.
No, I think that they are limiting. I think they're just limiting if you're conservative and you have conservative views and conservative interests.
3 weeks.
Those things are very difficult to.
Isabella.
Not for me. I mean, Ben Shapiro still comes up on my feed.
Right. Yeah. He does. And
Isabella.
He's fighting legally though to maintain that too.
She says, "Good morning, and get this: I only had water for almost 3 weeks. Were you on a fast, or was it intentional, or
water for 3 weeks?
That
Whoa.
I bet you were pretty
Almost.
ravenous by the time you ate that. What did you? Okay, so what was the first thing you ate after 3 weeks without water? First of all, or without food. First of all, why were you without food for 3 weeks? And if you don't want to tell us, I understand, because it says, don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing.
Right.
Well, the human body can only go 3 days without water.
Well, yeah. So you can live up to 3 weeks without food. I mean, I could probably live for 3 weeks without food. I'd be really, really weak, and I probably would feel like poo, but I'd probably lose a lot of weight. But
Really?
water.
Or would you gain all that weight back because your body goes into survival mode?
Well, it usually does. Okay, wait a second.
Yeah. So once you do start eating it.
She didn't want food. She's a vegetarian and ate a banana. So that was the first food you ate was a banana. Man, I wish I could enjoy bananas, but I hate bananas.
What was the reason for the fast?
It wasn't a fast. She's vegetarian. She just didn't want to eat.
She just didn't want food.
Yeah, didn't want food.
And everybody has their I've had moments like that where I'm just like, I can't think of anything I want to eat, so I just don't.
Yeah.
But then whenever I find something I want to eat, I eat more of it than I probably should because I haven't eaten. Good morning, Linda Fleetwood. Welcome to the party. We're talking about fasting. That's going to be our subject for the day. Fasting. Now, go ahead. Sorry.
There are people that fast for different reasons. I know a lot of don't Catholics fast during Lent?
Is fast just food, really?
It's not just food. Fasting is anything you want to sacrifice or put away for. And basically, you're right. Lent is, whenever they give up something for Lent, that's fasting. Yeah. But they say when you fast, you don't want to tell people that you're fasting. You don't want to let people know you're fasting because the Pharisees back in the day, I say back in the day like I was there,
They would basically have a little parade.
they would throw dirt on their face and scrunch their face up in agony and pain so everybody would know that they were fasting. And Jesus said that's their reward. They've received their reward. People see them doing it and think, oh, they're awesome. They fast, and that's it. You know, we're going to build our treasure up in heaven, not here on earth.
Yeah.
And my treasure, in my opinion, is, I mean, of course, there was a time where I was more worried about what people thought than living right. Yeah. I think we all go through a period of time like that.
Right.
What is a spiritual life?
What is a spiritual life?
Yeah,
that's a pretty broad question.
Isn't there an ebb and flow to it? You know, there's a time when, you know, it becomes very personal. And it doesn't matter what anybody thinks. So you are really, you know, your focus is different. Though the picture may be the same, your focus is different. You know, so you pray more, you read more, you really look inwardly for the sin, to root it out and to repent. You know, and it's very intense at that. It's a very intense thing. The relationship with God, when it's close and it's intimate, which means, you know, but just between you and God, that's a personal and intimate relationship. It's a very intense relationship. It's intense to me, you know, and I find during those times that God really answers prayer. But I think also because the relationship is close, and you're actually getting like the science of it, you know, you're getting the bread of life, you're getting all of the things that sustain us. So you don't, so you're fed and you're healthy. You know, you're truly healthy spiritually. So, but what happens, I think, is there's the intensity of that relationship. And then, of course, that's not the only thing in your life. You also have your job, you have the people around you and all that stuff. So those things tend to start to demand attention because in a way they're being neglected. Not in a way that they're being neglected, but am I making sense? So there's,
yes.
Or taken for granted or something, I'm not really sure.
Sometimes when I decide that I want a closer relationship with God, fasting comes up because I'm going, there's got to be something I can try to give up for a month, 30 days. One time I gave up soda for a whole month.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, it was not easy.
No, a lot of people are addicted to soda, believe it or not.
It's very addictive.
Yeah.
It was not easy.
Yeah.
And that's just soda.
Yeah, and just for a month. And for 1 month.
Yeah.
So,
you can fast from some things for a lifetime. Would that be considered a fast? Like monks, you know, they give up a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
Is that considered fasting?
I would say
the monks they do sacrifice a lot. There's no doubt.
How do you spell your name? Jerima, but it's
Jeremiah, just like in the Bible.
Okay, I misplaced the E. So, all right, if I can remember is it Youmans or?
Yes, Youmans. It's an English name.
Humans.
It comes from the island of Wales.
That's so. There's a lot of. Is it like an island that whales live on?
Huh?
I just imagine a bunch of whales walking around.
Oh.
Good day.
Good day.
Oh
Mike.
yeah, it's.
Hello, Governor.
My surname is definitely English.
Yeah.
You might want to wipe your nostril blowhole there. Bless you. I don't know. That's all I got.
Is that all you got?
Special guest. Okay. Sorry, we're putting your name on here, so.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We want people to come in to.
You said Jeremia.
Just like in the Bible.
H.
You guys should know that.
Y. How do I spell your last name again?
Youmans. Humans. Human.
We're having
all mankind.
a spelling instruction today on we're doing. See, and then watch this, Jeremiah. Boop. There you go.
See, there I am, right there on the screen.
Yeah, it's right underneath you too.
Awesome.
So I could actually move that wherever I wanted on here.
I love your guys' technology. Wow. You guys have really expanded since the last time I was here.
She said she doesn't like bananas, but that was all she had.
Is
Laugh
it
out
for the
loud.
better?
You know, I'm not a vegetarian for one reason. I want to help the vegetarians around the world. I eat cows because they eat the grass and other vegetables. So
And you want them, right?
yeah. So I don't want they're stealing vegetarians' food. I don't see anything wrong with going vegan or vegetarian. I mean,
No, I don't either.
most of your protein actually comes from vegetables rather than beef. There's actually, or in meat in general, there's actually more. What are you doing? What are you laughing at?
I didn't push the live button, so I just dragged that thing across there, and it's
Everyone's just like,
going like
you can follow the bouncing ball thing on there.
yeah, the bouncing ball.
Did you know that peanuts are in the meat group?
Yeah, and I know they're not a pea or a nut, which is weird because they're called peanuts. Have you ever
Right.
had boiled peanuts?
No.
You never have?
No.
Have you guys had boiled peanuts? What about you, Jay?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I bet you your sister has. Living in Florida, when I lived in Panama City Beach, that's where they
We don't have your commercial
stuff.
video up. Your commercial.
Here in a few minutes. Well, here about our halfway
Well, I mean,
point.
this camera's not live for me.
It's not.
No.
It's not. You might have to re-pull it up.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, that's because I unplugged it to plug in a flash drive to put video on there.
Matthew.
Because after the show today, we're going to be playing a video that was shot at Jim Wanning's house of the Get in the Game fellers. He's going to be interviewing Pam Wanning, the treasurer of Axe Media Group. Also, she is also Jim Wanning's wife. Wonderful woman. I'm excited to see them. They'll be here. Axe Fest is coming up. I believe I put a video on the bottom of your thing there, Jay. You see with Jim sitting there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's him talking about Axe Fest. We're going to play that video here in about 10 minutes.
Digital audio interface is what I use for the sound.
Yeah,
There we go. I think
Boom.
it's there somewhere.
I'm not seeing it. The light's not lit up.
Well, then something else may be wrong. It detected it.
That's weird.
Oh, I didn't push OK.
Yeah, you got to push OK. Let's see what we got going on. All right, so Steve says, morning, guys. Uncle Raymond says, good morning, guys. Steve says, not like them. I'm trying to figure out exactly where, what he's talking about. Why does it look like, oh.
The OK button.
All right, so we're okay right here. I think my computer is freezing up.
There you are. I've got it now. Mine was trying to jam up a little bit too.
You know, we are pushing these to the limit. Oh, you shared a link to.
So why would you give something up? Why would you fast?
Well, you know, and that's a good thing. That's a good question for today.
Should there be a relationship between what it is you're fasting from and your relationship with God? Or do you just choose anything, or the most common thing, or the thing we hear about people fasting from? Or should you choose something very specific to yourself and your own, because so many things affect us so differently.
Yeah.
So if you're spending too much time shopping on Amazon, is fasting from Amazon really the right choice? So should we focus on the thing that is the most distracting in our life, that is taking us most away from God, or maybe taking the most of our attention,
That's a good
and
question.
fast from that specifically?
Sorry, I'm having an
you know-
issue on my computer. Is everybody else watching this okay?
I'm watching it okay.
Because
Seems to be.
eventually, when you become,
Yeah, okay, we're good. Sorry.
when you're having a relationship with God,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, eventually, because he comes into your life, correct?
Uh-huh.
And even Jesus himself said to turn away from sin.
Yes.
He said that himself. And
Right.
so when you're a truly changed person, you will get rid of those things
Right.
that are distracting you between you and God. Those
There we
sinful
go.
things you know are wrong. You're a changed person from the inside out. So naturally, you would
Steve doesn't
do
like
your
peanuts.
best to steer away from whether it's junk food, cigarettes, alcohol,
That's true.
pornography, whatever it is.
Steve makes a good point. There is a biblical fast, and then there is a medical fast. Of course, medical fast is where you're going to have blood work done, and they don't want it tainted with like all the stuff you're going to eat. So you have to fast for at least 12 hours before you go in to get blood work done.
Yeah.
So that way your blood sugar is not shot through the roof. It doesn't,
There's
not-
less diversity in the parts,
Yeah.
the makeup of your.
I know that whenever I had my the last surgery that I had, the hernia surgery that I had,
Yeah.
not fun. I wouldn't recommend them for anybody. They're not fun. But of course, if you have a hernia, you need to get it fixed.
So what's
Otherwise,
a biblical fast?
the biblical fast is where you give something up.
So
Whether it
why
be
would
food-
Why would food be it? See, and that's what I'm curious of. So
Well, I mean, each person is different. I mean, each person has
is
their
it
own
though,
reason.
biblically?
Yeah. Like if you
Where in the Bible did they fast from anything other than food?
Because I think Jesus fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. That's where we get that from.
not just that, David fasted whenever he messed up and he committed adultery with Bathsheba.
So it is food.
Yeah, mainly. I mean, you can fast from anything. Fast is giving something up.
Yeah, but who says that?
Well, I mean,
I mean, is it a
What-
biblical principle that
It
you
doesn't
fast
s-
from anything,
It
or
doesn't
is there?
say, but Jesus did it for 40 days. And I think that's where it comes from.
So
'Cause
it is food.
He led by
Mainly.
example.
I think that giving stuff up could be a form of fasting.
Or is that repenting?
It could be repenting, fasting. Tomato. It depend. Like if you're okay, so. And to me, fasting has to do with food. That's always been what it has had to do with in my mind, in my heart. And whenever I fast, and you don't have to fast for days and days. You fast as long as you feel spiritually led to fast. And one thing I noticed when I fasted, anytime I had a hunger pang, because obviously I really love food.
Yeah.
It's an addiction for me. But whenever I fasted, every time I had a hunger pang, I thought about the Lord. And then I talked to the Lord. And that's, I think what it does is it shows God, it's us saying to God, I don't need this all the time. I need you to sustain me, not this food. But like I said, it's different. People fast for different reasons. So it's people fast for guidance. People fast to.
So you would set a time, or just go as long as you can?
Well, no, you can set a time, or you can go as long as you can. But you got to
I
drink.
mean, biblically, what's the principle instruction about it?
Well, from what I've never really seen, that doesn't set a time limit.
Okay.
It's just however you feel led to, or like if you, like let's say, for instance, King David was fasting while Bathsheba was giving birth, and the baby wasn't going to make it. He fasted until the baby had died.
Right.
Then when they found out the baby had died, he got up and he ate.
Yeah.
So that right there tells you he fasted for one specific purpose, and that was fasting, hoping to, praying to God to
Save his child.
his child. Whenever that didn't happen, he said, I fasted because of the child being sick and maybe dying. Now the child has passed away. Why do I need to fast?
Right.
And he got up and ate. As soon as he found out, he got up and said, "Here, I'm hungry. Let's go eat." So Steve says there is a Bible fast and a medical fast. Okay, we talked about that. Seeking closer walk with God. That's a lot of times that's the reason people fast. He also says during the time you would be eating, you would be seeking God. That's true. That's good. And I'm my computer is being goofy right now.
Yeah.
It's
Corking up.
well, it's I keep having to hit play all over again. So the topic of today is fasting.
Yeah. What do you think about fasting?
Let's
Leave comments. I wonder. A lot of people watch the show not live. I think most of the people who watch our show watch it when it is not live.
They watch the replay.
Yeah. And so then they don't get to really respond or correspond with us about their feelings and thoughts about it. Now, I do a lot of times see what I think may be relative to what the show was about on Facebook. And there are some people where I find a real seems to be a real relationship to what we talked about on the show and to what they're posting on Facebook. But I was wondering if, so if you're watching our show in its recorded form, not live, and you are commenting or leaving memes or putting up posts on Facebook that are related to what you saw on the show because you watched the show, please just mention the show. The Morning Drive with Matt and Jay at Axe Media
Group.
Well, I do try to share it
so that we
when I-
know,
Yeah, you do, and I appreciate you also give us shout-outs all the
just
time.
so that we know that's what you're talking about.
Okay,
That you're talking
so
about what you think about what you saw on the show. If you do, if you can leave a comment or something like that, so that we can respond to it and thank you for watching.
I'm going to read an article from allaboutgod.com.
Oh, and like and share.
Yeah, definitely like and share. That's what we need.
Allaboutgod.com.
Allaboutgod.com, talking about Christian fasting. Christian fasting, what is it? What is Christian fasting? Biblically, fasting is abstaining from food, drink, sleep, or sex to focus on a period of spiritual growth. Specifically, we humbly deny something of the flesh to glorify God, enhance our spirit, and go deeper in our prayer life. That makes sense?
Yes, it does.
Christian fasting isn't some kind of work that is commanded by Christ or required by Scripture. However, that doesn't mean that fasting isn't recommended as a part of our spiritual growth. The book of Acts records believers fasting before they made important decisions, which I have done that before. And that does, you fast seeking God's advice, seeking God's guidance.
A lot of your mainstream religions fast. Didn't Gandhi fast for a while?
Gandhi went on was it Gandhi that went on a hunger strike?
I think that was political.
Was it? Yeah, well, there was also the monk that set himself on fire.
Huh.
That
I
was
don't think that's a fast.
no, that's not. But
But I've heard of Buddhists that practice fasting.
yeah, there's all kinds of reasons. Steve says I have done a 40-day fast. Me and a friend that did a revival at my church.
Now that would be
God moved.
that would be eliminating everything in your diet except for a few
Except for water.
vital-
Water.
Except for just water,
Yeah.
with no exception.
I guess so. He says it is a time of sacrifice.
Cannot play video.
I can see why, because without food, your body goes into this different setting, and you're battling your fleshly desire. That's why food and sex are because your flesh
And
demands.
married people abstain from that for time of prayer.
Yeah.
So that's a form of fasting. But most fasting, when you say fasting, you think of food. And I agree with Steve. It is a time of sacrifice. It's showing God that, but also it takes that away from your thought and your mind. Basically, to me, it brings you closer to God. Of course, if I'm doing a spiritual fast, I don't tell anybody about it. I do it. But the problem is usually whenever I'm fasting, and I'm fasting for a reason, that's when everybody comes up, and the enemy will try to get you to not fast anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, that gives him an opportunity to torment you. I've noticed that because that's whenever everybody that normally people wouldn't have any food at all, but when you're fasting in secret, everyone's saying, here's some barbecue ribs. Oh, here's a bear claw. Here's a cake.
Yeah.
Here's some pie.
Right.
And you're like, oh, well, I can't do it right now. Well, why not? And you don't want to tell them because I'm fasting. But I guess you could tell them I'm fasting. You want to learn you want to learn
You don't have
why it's
to,
good to
just-
fast?
Yeah, I wonder how that works too, because I wonder if that's the same thing as blowing the trumpet.
Yeah, we don't want to blow the trumpet.
Yeah, and how do you manage that? The difference between sharing your testimony to teach and to instruct and to help people to find their way closer to God and being boastful and bragging.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that's a fine
I'm-
line. That's
Yeah, I would think it is. I think it is.
because you want to be an inspiration, but at the same time, don't be full of pride.
Yeah.
That's not an easy thing. That's very difficult.
So what do you think the difference is? Where is the line?
It's a very fine line.
It's a fine line. So
It is.
that what that would mean is there's a definite place where you cross it. There's a defined place where you cross that line. What's the definition?
Okay. So let's see what Isaiah has to say about it. Isaiah chapter 58.
About fasting.
Yeah, true and false fasting.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
There's what we're
little
looking
scripture for you here. We're gonna
Okay.
for. Yeah.
cry aloud, do not hold back, lift up your voice like a trumpet. This is Isaiah 58, by the way. Declare to my people their transgression, to the house of Jacob, their sins. Yet they seek me daily and delight to know my ways, as if they were a nation that did righteousness and did not forsake the judgment of their God. They ask me of righteous judgments. They delight to draw near to God. Why have we fasted, and you see it not? Why have we humbled ourselves, and you take no knowledge of it? Behold, in the day of your fast, you seek your own pleasure and oppress all your workers. Behold, you fast only to quarrel and to fight and to hit with a wicked fist. Fasting like yours this day will not make your voice to be heard on high. Is such the fast that I choose, a day for a person to humble himself? Is it to bow down his head like the reed and to spread sackcloth and ashes under him? Will you call this a fast and a day acceptable to the Lord? Is not this the fast that I chose, to choose the bonds of wickedness, or to loose the bonds of wickedness, to undo the straps of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free and break every yoke? I don't think he's talking about eggs here either.
Oh.
Is it not to share your bread with the hungry and bring the homeless poor into your house? When you see the naked, to cover him and not to hide yourself from your own flesh? Then shall your light break forth like the dawn, and your healing shall spring up speedily. Your righteousness shall go before you. The glory of the Lord shall be your rear guard. Then you shall call, and the Lord will answer. You shall cry, and he will say, Here I am. If you take away the yoke from your midst, the pointing of the finger and the speaking wickedness, if you pour yourself out for the hungry and satisfy the desire of the afflicted, then shall your light rise in the darkness, and your gloom be as the noonday. And the Lord will guide you continually and satisfy your desire in scorched places and make your bones strong, and you shall be like the watered garden, like a spring of water whose waters do not fail, and your ancient ruins shall be rebuilt. You shall raise up the foundations for many generations. You shall be called the repairer of the breach and the restorer of the streets to dwell in. If you turn back your foot from the Sabbath, from doing your pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, and the holy day of the Lord honorable, if you honor it, not going your own ways, or seeking your own pleasure, or talking idly, then you shall take delight in the Lord, and I will make you ride on the heights of the earth. I will feed you with the heritage of Jacob your father, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. Okay, so it's a little bit.
In a nutshell, basically, what is he saying?
In a nutshell, he's basically saying, so I guess some people fast to be able to give food to others. That's a perspective I hadn't thought of. And I am having issues with trying to, my video is not wanting to play.
Yeah, I think mine stopped too.
Oh, there it is. It's going now.
But I'm still getting comments.
Yeah, I'm still getting comments too. Is everybody seeing this okay? Is everybody playing? Is it playing okay? Because it's playing okay on my phone. It's a time of sacrifice, Steve says. He also says some people do it for diet fasting.
That was Isaiah?
That was Isaiah 58.
A prophet, not a king.
No, that was a prophet, not a king. You're right. Now, what I was talking about earlier, let me find it here. And it was about David fasting.
Well, I was just wondering because as it relates to feeding and all the things that he said is that the way I saw it wasn't that he didn't eat so someone else could eat what he would, but that through fasting, by fasting, he was transformed into an instrument of God, a sharper instrument of God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that the result of that being sharper was that all of those things came from it. The hungry ate. and all of the other things that he mentioned. That's how I got
You know,
it.
let's ask Jesus about it.
Okay.
We'll ask Jesus about it. Matthew chapter 9, verse 14. Then the disciples of John came to him, saying, "Why do we and the Pharisees fast, but your disciples do not fast?" And Jesus said to them, "Can the wedding guests mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them? The days will come when the bridegroom is taken away for them, and then they will fast. No one puts on a piece of unshrunk cloth, puts a piece of unshrunk cloth on an old garment. For the this is talking about."
Go ahead. Doesn't he say what will happen after he's gone?
Yeah, no one puts a piece of unshrunk cloth on an old garment, for the patch tears away from the garment, and a worse tear is made. Neither is the new wine put into old wineskins. If it is, the skins burst and the wine is spilled, and the skins are destroyed. But new wine is put into fresh wineskins, and so both are preserved. That was them asking a question: why do we fast, but your disciples do not? I think that with Jesus not having returned yet, I think we should fast. I know it is helpful for me spiritually if I'm having a rough time or if I'm trying to make a decision about something. Fasting, it kind of puts everything else off of the table and kind of brings you closer to God.
Yeah.
And, be able
It focuses all of your time.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about cooking anything. And you're basically showing God that.
Well, it's also food is a constant impulse, and the hungrier you get, and the further you are from your last meal, the more you focus on food.
Yeah.
So when your attention comes to the food, which will come and be more frequent, you're fasting, so you reject the food and replace that with God.
I think everybody.
So wouldn't it grow throughout your fast? So that when you come out of a fast, you would be constantly focused on God, because you'd be very hungry and in need of sustenance.
Yeah, and also God wants us to be healthy as well.
And you would replace the sustenance of food with the sustenance of
God.
His spiritual presence in your life.
Yeah, and it's also, it symbolizes that I don't need food. I need you more than I need food, Lord.
Yeah, I think that is probably I think that is why I see that thing about Jesus saying He's the bread and He's the water and those things.
He is the life.
Yeah, because really, if we weren't conscious, I look at it from a spiritual perspective, I mean in life, but if we weren't really conscious about who we are and what we are, and aware, then we wouldn't have that effect of the spiritual life, you know what I mean? I don't know.
We haven't done a single commercial yet. Hold on, hold that thought.
No, we haven't.
Continue talking. I'm gonna go get the sheets.
Yeah, we haven't done a commercial yet.
Yeah.
It's an astute observation.
Yep. So isn't that what makes us not mindless animals,
Right.
Animals without thought, where we are just really looking for sustenance, the base needs of life.
It's
and
not easy
to continue life. We have more than that.
Easy to fast. I mean, some of our military personnel are trained to fast.
Yeah.
If you're in special forces, that's part of your training.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because food can reveal your position. Plus,
Yeah.
it can attract animals, and so if you're in a place where you're not home and the people there are, there's a lot of complications with it, I imagine.
probably explains why a lot of our military people are very spiritual people.
Right.
Well, yeah, they actually have. I have a friend whose wife is actually a chaplain recruiter.
Yeah.
Recruits chaplains. That's what she does.
Yeah.
They actually have a specific person and in order to be a chaplain in the military, you have to go to seminary. It's not just anybody. Not just anybody can go, hey!
I want to be a chaplain.
You have to actually have a degree in
I've thought about that as far as being licensed next month. I mean, I haven't been to seminary, so I kind of feel a little bit out of place in that position, like maybe I'm not really equipped for it.
You're equipped for it.
Ah.
Don't let the enemy tell you otherwise.
No, that's not the enemy telling me that.
It could be.
It's my own question.
Of course, the enemy doesn't have to work hard on us. We work pretty hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
So,
Well, hey, while you do that commercial, I am going to go get coffee. So I'm going to switch over to you.
You're going to
Is that
switch
right?
over to me?
All right, I am wiping over to Matt.
Whoa!
And we're going to put the banner across there.
My hat's a little goofy today.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, so everybody can see me now. Hey, welcome. All right, so today I'm going to talk about, did you put the banner across the bottom there,
Yep,
Jay?
Natural Solutions.
For shizzle. Jay Dizzle. All right, so let me put that on there. We're a little bit unorganized today, as always. Today I'm going to talk about CBD capsules. Now, naturalsolutionsstore.bz offers a product called CBD. A lot of you have heard about it, and a lot of people are talking about it. And it helps with a wide variety of certain things. It's been successfully used for conditions such as PTSD, diabetes, fibromyalgia, sore muscles, joint support, schizophrenia, Crohn's disease, multiple sclerosis, insomnia, cigarette addiction, acne, and many, many more. Of course, different things affect different people in different ways because we all have different body chemistry. So, and we don't know. Some people it takes more, some people it takes less. These come in 10, 25, and 50 milligram doses, and it's right there on naturalsolutionsstore.bz. It's on the first page you come to whenever you go there. And I would start with a smaller one, and then if that doesn't work, try the next dose up or try to take an extra dose. Let's say you're taking 10s, and you take the first 10. It doesn't help. Take another one, and then if that helps, then that just suggests the next time you buy a bottle, you need to get the 25 milligram doses. So that way you can figure out the dose that works best for you. So I do want to let you know that this statement has not been evaluated by the FDA. It is not to be used by pregnant women or lactating women, and always consult a physician before changing your diet or using a new food. You can get your CBD capsules at www.naturalsolutionsstore.bz. And, yeah, that's my face. Yeah, I think Facebook's having an issue. Anyways, back to you guys.
Okay, so I'm taking down the banner. This is going pretty slow, too.
Yeah.
And we're back. Hello, everybody.
Either
Good
A,
morning.
it's our internet, which I don't think it is, because this would tell me that, okay, so I got this little red, see that little red stream button there on the bottom? If it wasn't streaming right, then that would be turning yellow.
Tomorrow's the 4th of July. So,
It is! I completely forgot about that.
and that could be part of the internet issue. A lot of people are trying to finish things up because of, and get a lot of things done because there's going to be days
Hello,
off.
Marcia.
People, having days off of work and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
it's for a holiday. So it's not a normal day off where it's going to add so the demand for the work tomorrow
Beyond the
is going to
government,
be put on the
I don't know of
demand for
anybody
today.
that really has a day off. If you are in the hospitals
I'm hoping I get paid
or
holiday pay.
department stores, who's off anymore?
Well, it was also a huge celebration, so there's a lot more trucking and all kinds of other parts of commerce and industry that are on super high.
I can tell you, the company I work for at CTI, they run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Yeah.
The front office doesn't, but I do, like what my job position does. And usually, like this time of year, like right now, there's probably just an inflow of a whole bunch of drivers trying to get home to be home in time for the family time to celebrate the 4th of July.
Yeah. So I would assume that some of that traffic is clogging up. And social media. We're on social media, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, tomorrow's a pretty big day for
Yeah.
families and friends. And
There's going to be a lot of videos
organizations
uploaded.
and-
Oh,
so
yeah.
there's a lot, well, and also right now people are communicating. Hey, what are you doing? Where are you going? They're posting up all the events that are taking place that somebody can attend. You don't want to post all that stuff tomorrow because then it's kind of too late. So that's
Right.
probably part of the struggle, I would think.
I know I love the 4th of July because I like blowing stuff up.
Yeah.
My brother and I, Scott, you know who you are. Him and I used to have bottle rocket wars where he'd be on one end of the yard and I'd be on the other. We'd both have our grosses of bottle rockets.
Yeah.
And we'd have like PVC pipes and stuff. We'd light it and shoot them at each other.
Yeah.
Do not do that at home.
Yeah.
Do not do that at home. I don't want us getting sued or anything. Someone gets that bright idea. A lot of people, if you've shot fireworks before, you've had the idea of like throwing a firecracker.
Are you guys going to be on tomorrow morning?
Yeah. I don't see. Yeah, we usually the days that we take off are now. I don't know about the other show,
Christian
the Power
holidays
Hour.
mostly.
Um,
we even do those.
Yeah, I'll play a video if they're out and about doing other stuff, then they can't make it to do the show. I'll play a video. But yeah, we Christmas, Easter, and I mean occasionally we'll take other holidays off. But this one's in the middle of the week, and I don't want it to throw the middle of the week. I don't want to throw the week off. So yeah, everybody's having issues with this video, but I'm still getting comments. So thank you guys for continuing to comment.
So I wonder if it'll even post it in its entirety.
You know, I'm not sure.
I'm sure the replay will be fine.
Yeah.
That happens. So yeah, Steve says you have to have a master's degree in probably theology
That's
to be
4
a
years.
military chaplain. Yeah, that's a seminary.
Yeah.
I think now they have certifications and stuff, but with seminary they have all different types of degrees. They have, you know, like with any other major in college. So
Yeah.
So we kind of we struggled with what's that line? You know,
between
a fast.
a fast for God or a fast for other people seeing you.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I don't know about for
well,
other people seeing you. I mean,
If
for
you're
the right.
fasting for God, it's probably a good idea not to tell anybody that you're fasting. It's got to be between you
Well,
and God.
one thing, obedience, because the Bible specifically tells us. Not
This
to.
way, you won't be boasting about anything.
Yeah.
Now you could let your family members know, like if they're worried because you haven't eaten. You know.
So yeah, that's interesting.
Like,
How would you manage that?
it's tough.
It seems like the
Just
examples
keep it to yourself.
that we have of people fasting in the Bible, are they more solitary people? Because you would think that a prophet would have a lot of time where there was a solitary time.
Yeah.
I guess I would be more solitary because I don't want my friends to know I'm fasting.
Well, what I'm trying to get at is how would we instruct and teach somebody who might be considering fasting in a way that would do it, they could do it, that would be godly, and that in our time wouldn't set them up for to cross that prideful line. So what I'm wondering is if there's a time when you find yourself alone, or it is a solitary time, that you could do it.
Yeah.
And those who are married with families would have a much bigger struggle with that. They would have to share it with their families,
Yeah.
like you were saying.
Yeah.
And then also, what about a failure of a fast? So if you decide I'm going to give up food for this amount of time, and then you find yourself unable to successfully complete that full fast,
Right.
what's the feeling a person would come away from with that?
I can tell you of a feeling of being a failure, failing at it.
Yeah.
I mean, you feel bad because you when you decide to fast, you have an agreement with God. You know, okay, so I'm gonna step away from food for, let's say, 10 hours. You know, it doesn't have to be a 40-day fast. It's however you're led spiritually to fast. Like some people will fast for 6 hours. Some people will fast but now fasting at a time where you normally wouldn't be eating anyways is not really considered fasting, really.
Yeah.
You can call it fasting, but true fasting is passing up meals.
What
Or-
about this? Maybe not a fasting. Maybe we won't call it fasting, but I'm thinking, what can we do that would bring us closer to God? That would be in some way related to the fasting. What about if any time during, you know, what if any time we say something that we want, say food. Let's say food, because it's always food. So we'll just decide it's food. You really want something,
Yeah.
and you're going to get it. What if instead of being mindful of this thing that we want. What if we bring God into it and say, you know what? I'm going to choose at this moment not to have the raspberry flip that I want so badly and can just get because I have the money and I'm hungry and I want it. What if I choose right now that I'm not going to get the flip and instead I'm going to pray?
That would be
And
considered fasting.
Yeah. And then, not that I would say I'm going to do this for so many days, but right now, and not that it would matter that if I make that up later and eat it later, that would make any difference. But if I would trade this thing that I want right now, this food that I want right now, if I would trade it right now to pray and honor and worship God silently to myself, and you can do that no matter what you're doing. We're supposed to pray without ceasing. We're supposed to pray all the time in everything that we do. So why don't we try that?
Yeah. Well, it's time for us to get out of here.
And of course, we won't come back and tell each other about it because then that would be... Try it.
Try it out today.
See if you can...
If you have any questions for us, give us a shout. Give us a holler. So, again, sorry about the... I don't know. It has something to do with Facebook, I think. Or maybe our internet. So...
I'll watch it later, see if we get it complete.
Cool. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us on the Morning Drive today. We'll be back on tomorrow. Same time, same channel. Tune in after this for In the Game. Or Get in the Game with the In the Game Insurance fellas.
Was there something with Jim as well?
Well, yeah, we'll have that. That'll end out their show. So until then, my friends, God bless you and keep you. We love you. My name is Matt.
My name is Jay.
My name is Jeremiah, and this is The Morning Drive.
Okay. Wait, you got to do it right. And this has been The Morning Drive. There you go. Bye, everybody.